Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 229 of the Ask the Coach show, where PingSkills helps you improve your table tennis. It's Throwback Thursday, and with the World Championships only 4 days away, we're going to look at a masterclass called Tournament Expectations. In the questions, we'll look at staying calm while playing, what is considered a short and long ball, getting into position for your forehand topspin, and how to improve your backhand topspin. I'm Jeff Plum, and as always, Super Coach Alois Rosario is here with me to answer your questions. Welcome, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Welcome, everyone. And yes, a Thursday show today. Wow.
Yes.
Week.
And the World Championships only 4 days away. That is exciting.
It is exciting. Yeah. So World Team Championships, it's, we'll talk about it later, but yeah, I always get excited when, the thought of the World Championships coming up and, it's going to be some unbelievable table tennis played for sure.
Absolutely. Yep. I can't wait. And yesterday's PingSkills question of the day, Alois, was, can Werner Schlager and Zoran Primorac match it with the big guns at the World Teams Championships? Because it's Schlager's 17th, Primorac's 18th World Championships. They're both getting pretty old for table tennis players.
Yeah, and the mood of the meeting was pretty well along those lines. So Mark said, no, game's gone too fast. And Matt Massey said, unfortunately, I don't think they would keep up with the speed and power of the modern game. I would love to see it, though. Yes, it would be nice to see them doing well. But yeah, I think they're probably right. I mean, Primorac definitely. And I mean, Schlager's still, he's pretty crafty, though. That's the thing. Schlager's got... he never really relied on power. It was more about his placement and his variation of things. So, maybe Schlager can do something.
Maybe, I don't know. He had an amazing serve, which he probably still has, but I think he did like to hit that backhand pretty hard.
Yeah, he did, but he also placed that forehand really well. And yeah, as you said, his serves were always very deceptive. So we will see. Let's see. I mean, Austria needs him.
Yeah, exactly. And maybe that's not a good sign for Austria, because you always want young players coming up. If you've got the old guys staying there too long, like you see with China, they seem to always get young players coming through and pushing the old guys out. Keeps them strong.
Yeah, I think, in fairness, I think he's jumped in to replace Harbachon, who was injured. So, you would think that they would have another one or two in line.
Yes, indeed. But it will be good to see Schlager back in action. I'm looking forward to watching him. All right, that moves us on to today's PingSkills question of the day, which is, which 3 women out of the 5 players will China use in the final of the World Team Championships? Alois, you're better at pronouncing names. Why don't you read out that lovely list?
Yeah, so the 5 players listed for China are, hang on, the question's just gone over, is Li Jiajia, Ding Ning, Liu Shiwen, Chen Meng, and Zhu Yuling. So pretty strong 5 players there. And, out of those 5, in the big final, and we are assuming that China's going to make the final, of course, in the final, who will they choose out of those 5?
Yeah, it's a difficult choice, isn't it? So jump onto our Facebook page, let us know, or onto our blog at pingskills.com. Love to hear your team selections. All right, that moves us on to some questions. Now, actually, you know what? Let's go straight into Throwback Thursday first, because it's all about tournament expectations. You just said, China's going to make the final. It's interesting, isn't it? What do people need to know when they go to a tournament? What should they expect?
Yeah, so most of us won't be playing in the World Championships as our first tournament, but at a tournament, it is pretty different to your local leagues or your pennant or your rosters or whatever you play on a weekly basis. There are a few different things that you need to really think about. The first one is that you're going to be playing matches over a long period of time. So usually at these tournaments, you turn up there at 8 o'clock in the morning, or 8:30 for a 9 o'clock start, and you might only finish at 3 or 4 or 5 in the afternoon, and you won't necessarily play a lot of matches in those times. So the first thing is make sure you're prepared for that. Prepare to have good food available to yourself during the day. You might not get opportunities to go out and get a proper meal. So make sure you're taking food and drink with you. What sort of stuff should you take? So as far as food, I always found just simple little things like, fruit buns are good. Things that you can digest easily and also nibble on during the day. Don't take a 3-course roast meal with you and expect to be able to, wolf that down at some stage. It's better if you take things that you can just nibble on constantly during the day. And as far as drinks, take lots of water, or make sure you've got a good supply of water. Water is the most important thing. You could think about some sports drinks, but you don't really need too much of a sports drink. You might have one for the day, and you might even just dilute it a little bit during the day as well. So yeah, just be prepared with your food and water. That's the first thing. The second thing is, at a tournament, you're going to see a really wide range of players there. Make sure that you spend that downtime watching the better players that are at the tournament, watching them, trying to get good images of these better players, and that's a really good way of learning as well. The next thing is just to make sure that you get to the tournament early. Often these tournaments are played in a place that you might not have played before. It's really important to get there and familiarize yourself with the environment. If you're walking into a new hall and try to play, everything does just seem a little bit different. The hall might be bigger. There's going to be a lot of people around, different atmosphere. So I always like to get there, at least an hour before a tournament starts. Give yourself plenty of time to get in there, find where you're going, settle down. Then have a really good hit up as well is important. So those sort of things are really important when you're going to a tournament. Yeah. Any other things that you can think of, Jeff, from your experience?
Not really. That's a good coverage. It is a great experience. If you haven't played a tournament yet, get onto your local association website, find out when the next tournament is, and enter it. It's just great fun. You meet a lot of people. And they're all there to enjoy and improve their table tennis like you are. So you meet great people that are like-minded. And so, yeah, just get out there and do it.
Good advice.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, that was Throwback Thursday. And now we want to also look back into history, Alois, and tell us what happened on the 25th of February.
Yes. So the first one is in 1964, Cassius Clay, Muhammad Ali, won his first world heavyweight title, beating Sonny Liston in 7. So that was the start of a very illustrious career for Muhammad Ali. And then some famous birthdays. So George Harrison, the famous Beatle, was born in 1943, and Bobby Riggs, the tennis player, born in 1918, and also, especially for Australians, a very famous death on this day in 2001, the great Don Bradman, cricketer.
There you go. Interesting. Very good. Now, Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay, he was quite an excitable character and liked to talk the talk. It reminds me of this question from Spam20. Spam says, I am currently getting very excited whenever I play against someone who's good. I don't know why, but I get very warm and start moving around, and I scream a lot whenever I make a point. I'm just happy, but it annoys other people. Have you got any tips on how to cool down?
Yeah, so that will be your emotional level getting up a little bit too high. So often when we get get to play other players, or better players, our adrenaline starts to get, rush, and we start to get really emotionally high. We start to get a bit too excited, and that leads to that, the yelling and the chowing and all that sort of stuff when you get a point. The first thing you need to understand is that that's not how you play your best table tennis. So, being up like that and, being pumped up like Ali isn't the best way in a sport like table tennis, because you need to be a little bit calmer. It's much more fine motor skills that you need to be able to perform. So being calmer is actually going to be better for you. How do you do that? There are a few techniques, things like using an abdominal breath, a nice deep breathing, just taking your time in between points, setting up a good pre-point routine. Those sort of things will really help you, but they're things that you need to set up for yourself. So, it's the first thing is it's great that you're recognizing that, Spam. If you don't know that you're being, too excited, then you can't do anything about it. You recognize that. Now there are ways that you can go through and think about settling yourself down, playing each point at a time as well.
Very good advice. We do have a sports psychology section on the PingSkills website, so I'll put a link to that in the show notes. So start there, and that'll give you some good ideas about what's going on. Alrighty. Next up is a question from Eugene. He says, there is this type of placement that I don't understand whether it's short or long. It only bounces once on the opponent's side, and then it falls off the side of the table. But then the ball is very close to the net. So do you call this a short or a long ball?
Eugene, this is long. So anything that bounces once on the table is long. So why do we call it long? Because when the ball drops off the side of the table, your opponent can swing fully and make an attacking stroke. So even though the ball might be really wide and close to the net, the fact that it only bounces once means that your opponent can swing much more freely, and so that is the definition of being short or long. If the ball bounces once on the table, it's long. So it's a trap for players. You sort of think that, I'm serving it short, but if the ball's going off this side of the table, you're inviting your opponent to make that attacking stroke. Keep it short, make sure it's bouncing twice on the table, and maybe just centralize that first bounce a little bit more. So get it a little bit closer to the middle so it's not swinging off the side of the table on the second bounce.
Yeah, good advice with that short serve. I have found, though, Alois, that some players, I guess as the players get better, you'll find this less and less, but some players don't like that ball that's kind of very wide. Maybe it's because the corner of the table gets in their way or something, but it can be an effective serve against some receivers that aren't used to that.
Yeah, absolutely. So the wide serve can be effective as long as you know that they can still attack that ball. So they might be able to attack it. As you say, sometimes that corner of the table does get in the way, and it can be an effective serve. But just understand the definition of short and long is that if it bounces once, they do have the opportunity to attack.
Excellent. And great question, Eugene. Next up is Francisco. And Francisco says, I'm having trouble with doing a topspin on the third ball attack. I have a good topspin in general against block and against backspin. My problem is when they push fast to the middle or the backhand, I don't feel I have time to get into position.
Okay. So, Francisco, the key here is your preparation after your service. So this is really crucial and something that players don't do enough of, I think. After you serve, make sure that you are tracking the ball well and moving to the next position. Often when we serve, we might serve and watch what's going on. Serve and track the ball. Follow what's going on. Follow the ball. See what your opponent's doing and be ready. So if your opponent is often pushing the ball long and fast into your backhand and middle area, so your service After your service, you're going to be here and maybe take half a step backwards to give yourself a little bit more time to play that topspin off the faster push backspin ball. The other thing to think about is your service. So how can you make your service more effective so that they can't get that fast attacking push at you? So one is by keeping the ball lower over the net. If you can keep the ball lower, it doesn't give them the opportunity to really push down on that fast push, and also just where you're serving it to. So if you serve it, they might have a better fast backhand push or a better fast forehand push, so you want to stay away from that. But you can also think about serving just a little bit longer. The half long serve that we talk about, where the second bounce is going to be close to the end line. What that does is that it pushes them a little bit further away from the net. So if you serve it really short, so the ball's just over the net, they can come in really close and push that ball fast at you. When the first bounce is mid-table and the second bounce is still on the table but long, then they're a little bit further away from you, so that fast push isn't as effective. So there's a few strategies to think about. One is making sure that you prepare properly after your serve, and two is think about the placement of your service as well.
Okay, got it. Yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, really track the ball and then look at making the serve harder for them to push as fast. Now, in terms of just practicing that movement, saying getting into position, would it be a good idea just to, against a practice partner, get them to maybe you do a serve and then push some long to your backhand, some to your middle, and you try and get around and play that third ball?
Yep. Yeah. So initially you just get them to play it to one position, perhaps. So serve and get them to push it fast into one position, and just get used to doing maybe the backhand topspin or whatever you want to do from the middle. And then you could start to get them to spread it around a little bit. So get them to spread it around anywhere in your backhand to middle area. And then the third stage would be to get them to push that ball long to anywhere. So sometimes they do go out to your forehand. Sometimes they do go into that difficult area for you in the backhand and the middle. And I suppose the fourth stage then would be to do any type of return. So they could return short, they could return slowly, they could flick, and then but then in that practice time, they would also put in a lot of the fast pushes into that area that you don't like. So, go through stages, develop the drill so that you are starting with the easy, where you're learning the technique, to more of a game situation where you don't know where the ball's coming, and they're placing a lot of balls in that difficult area for you.
Excellent. All right, Francisco. So try out those drills. Start with the easy and just work on getting better at those, and then you can progress through the stages like Alois mentioned. Hopefully that will help you out. Thanks for the question. All right, next up is a question from Il, who says, when you hit the backhand topspin against block or a light topspin, in the ball contact, is there motion forward with the forehand, starting from the forearm, starting from the elbow? What's the action like, Alois?
Yeah, so that backhand topspin, a lot of your motion does come from your forearm and the wrist. So there isn't a lot of motion with here, especially against a block or a light push type stroke. So you're basically pivoting from your elbow and coming forward here. So it's here, forward, utilizing your forearm, utilizing your wrist to come forward on that topspin ball. And so the less backspin there is, the more forward your stroke becomes, because you don't need to lift the ball so much. If they do put more backspin on the ball, then you can start lower and lift upwards, and have more of a vertical stroke. But against a light push or against a block, you're pivoting from there and coming more forward with your action.
Yeah, and I've noticed, Alois, that especially with the top players, when they stand up close to the ball, it seems like they can generate heaps of topspin and heaps of pace with a fairly small swing.
Yeah, it's a lot about a lot about the wrist and utilizing the wrist to generate that fast speed. That's the wrist, the fingers are moving really fast there, so you can get your bat moving really fast in a very short amount of time and in a very small space as well.
Yeah, and then if they go further back, they got a bit more time. Maybe then you'll see them use a bigger swing. All right. Yeah, so have a look at that, I'll put a link in the show notes to our backhand topspin video. So watch that again. And yeah, just keep practicing it. We show the start and finish positions. If you get those right, the rest of the stroke will fall into place. So really take a close note of those. All right. Monkey See, Monkey Do, a Google Plus user, has jumped online and asked us a question. So thanks for that. He says, if you use a Chinese penhold grip, it's always an awkward position. So how do I hold it properly?
Yep. So what's an awkward position? Just the actual grip, perhaps?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. So the Chinese penhold is, so you've got your thumb and finger around there, and then the other three fingers are curled on the back of the bat. So that's the grip that you use. The backhand, that backhand position maybe is what he was talking about, is an awkward position. There you want to probably utilize the forehand a bit more. And then you can use the reverse backhand in that backhand area as well. So the reverse penhold backhand, playing the ball like so. So yeah, it can be an awkward grip, but it can also be effective. I mean, Zuzin does all right with it.
He certainly does. And yeah, we do have a detailed video on it in our strokes and techniques section. So I'll put a link there so you can see the video. Watch that one. Should explain it all for you. Now, Alois, I won't be here tomorrow. I have to go away for work, unfortunately, so we can't do the show, which means we miss out on Friday funnies. But Matt M.
Yeah, Matt got one for us. You got it. We missed Friday funnies last week, Jeffrey. Come on.
I know. Well, Matt M, thinks that maybe I'm not all that funny generally, but he has a joke for us. He says, what do you call a girl lying in the middle of a table tennis table?
I don't know. What do you call a girl lying in the middle of a table tennis? Silly? No?
No, a net. Well done, Matt. Love it.
Yes.
I mean, that's funny. I think maybe Matt can be our resident Friday funny from now.
Absolutely. At least he's funny.
Indeed. All right. Well, that wraps up show 229. Everyone get excited over the weekend for table tennis. Get excited with the World Championships starting very soon.
Monday they start.
And we will all be back on Monday. So thanks for watching. Thanks for the questions. And thank you, Alois.
Thank you, Jeffrey. And yes, get into this World Championships, guys. Get onto the ITTF site. Check out who's playing. You can see all the teams, all the players listed from the teams. And yeah, let's get into it. And it'll be on ITTV to watch as well. So yeah, get onto it. Bye.